What were the roots? Most of you already found them. What were your answers? What is it? 3 and 4. Who got that? Raise your hand, because most of you did. You're just quiet. How did you get that? How did you know these were your roots? How did I know that, like, another coordinate was my root? What do roots mean? Zeros, which mean your what? Is the y 0, the x 0, what's 0? The y is 0, because they're your x-intercepts, right? So your zeros, your roots, are your x-intercepts. And so you can find them on a calculator by typing it into table. Now, today what we're going to be doing, so you can always find them that way, today we're going to be using the quadratic formula. So you are given the quadratic formula on your formula sheet. All you have to do is plug them into your calculator, or you can do it by hand and get your answer. Because the x-intercepts are not always going to be numbered, like in your table, because they're going to be decimals. So you're going to go to this page right here. There should be like 4 of them. We're going to be doing 4 different ones. And so this is the quadratic formula right here. It's given to you on your formula sheet, and it even says x equals, because x equals just means your x-intercepts. They tell you that on your formula sheet. So we're on the sheet right here. Does anyone need one? Make sure we're off our phones, because this can be easy, but it can also be complicated. So we're going to start with this one right here. So 3x squared minus 7x minus 21 equals 0. So put that on the first one. 3x squared minus 7x minus 21 equals 0. You're putting that on the first equation. The first thing we do is figure out, are all my terms on one side of the equation? So are all the terms on one side of the equation right here? Are they? Well, 0 is just the same thing as y at this point, right? Because we're finding our x-intercepts is when our y's are 0. So that's fine. So everything is on one side. Now try typing that equation into the table real quick. Try typing that equation in the table. See if you can find your zeros. Are you able to find your zeros? No. So that's why we're learning this equation will give you your x-intercepts no matter what, even if they're decimals. So because those don't end up being decimals, or those end up being decimals, we're not going to be able to find them in the table. So first thing I do is make sure everything's here. It is. Then you do, okay, whatever's next to a, or next to x squared is your a. So what is your a here? 3. Then whatever's next to x is your b. So what's your b here? What's the sign though? Negative 7. And then whatever's next, the constant is your c, which is negative 21. Cool. Then all you do is plug it into that equation. So I set it up for you right here, so you can just plug them right in. And so all I do is I go, okay, here's my, let me plug in all my a's first. So my a is right here and right here. So that means right here, I'm going to plug in a 3, and right here, I'm going to plug in a 3. Then I look at my b's, and I'm going to put negative 7 for all my b's. Even though that's a negative, I always am putting negative 7 right there. Here's a b, so negative 7. And then your c's are negative 21. Now, I'm going to show you how to do the first one by hand, but you can always put it right into your calculator. What button in your calculator gets you a fraction? So that you can put something in the numerator and something in the denominator. ND, right? So if you don't want to try that now, you can. And so all you're doing is, I would simplify as much as you can first, but you can type this right into ND and get your answer. This has plus or minus because there's 2 answers, 2 x-intercepts. So in that case, you're doing it plus first or minus first and then switching it. But I'm going to do it by hand first. So first, what is the opposite of negative 7? What is the opposite of negative 7? Positive 7. So x equals 7 plus or minus. What's negative 7 squared? Put it in your calculator, but make sure to put parentheses around it. What do you end up getting? What is it? $49. Make sure you have to put parentheses around it, but because if you didn't, you would have gotten negative 49, which is wrong. So it ends up being 49. Then what's negative 4 times 3 times negative 21? Put that right in your calculator. Negative 4 times 3 times negative 21. No, I'll end up turning to a positive number. What is it? 452. 252. 252. All over, what's 2 times 3? 6. Cool. So you just keep reducing it. So now what is 49 plus 252? What is it? 301. Cool. Now all you have to do in your calculator at this point, press ND, and you're putting 7, this in your on the numerator, plus square root of 301 over 6. When you put that in, what do you end up getting? Does everyone see that they get the exact same answer when you put in your calculator? I want it as a decimal. What button on my calculator is going to get it to me as a decimal? The 2 arrows. And what do you end up getting when you click that? What do you end up getting? Anyway. Good. It's 4.058, so I'm just going to round it to 4.06. So that's my first x-intercept. Notice it's a decimal, but that's why you didn't see it on your calculator, because it is a decimal. Then all I do is I retype it, or I can highlight it on your calculator where you typed it in originally, click enter, and change that plus to a minus. So you highlight it, click enter, and it will show up on your calculator, and you just change that plus to a minus. What do you end up getting as your decimal? Jot it out when you get it. Yep, negative 1.724, so I'll just round it to negative 1.7. So what are these two answers considered? Because it's x equals, what are they? Your what? X-intercepts. What other names would they call them? Because if they ask for your, there's 3 others. I'll give you a brain bucket if you get one of them. Raise your hand if you got it. Brain buckets get you candy and bathroom passes. What are other words we call intercept, x-intercepts? Raising your hand. Raise your hand, raise your hand. Bring up. Zeros. Who else has another word for them? Solutions. There's one more. Who can get the last one for Brandon? Brandon. Roots. Beautiful. So all those words mean the same thing. They all mean your x-intercepts. So those two, 4.06, comma 0, and negative 1.72, comma 0 are your x-intercepts. Does that make sense? So we would use this usually if you type it into a table and it doesn't show up, that means that it's a decimal and you have to put it in the text. Cool. Let's try another one. So let's try, we're going to put this at the top of your page. So 4x squared, leave a little room underneath it. 4x squared plus 3x equals 12. So write that at the very top. 4x squared plus 3x equals 12. So this formula gives you all the x-intercepts you need, but if you don't know how to type it into your calculator and you're not practicing this and you don't know how to do it, it's going to be pretty tough for you, especially since this unit is really, really prominent on your milestone. So like if you can, and you're given that formula, but they're not saying, hey, Tristan, use this formula, use the quadratic formula. You'll need to know, hey, if they're asking for my roots, my solutions, or my zeros, I know I should probably use my quadratic formula. So first, is everything on one side of the equation? Is everything on one side? Come on, guys, wake up. Is everything on one side of the equation? No. I need to move that 12. How do I move that 12 to the other side? Subtract it, right? And I know when I write my equation, it's ax squared plus bx plus c. So I know my 4x squared is still going to go first. Then 3x, because that has the x next to it, and then minus 12 equals 0. I can't combine them because none of them have the same last name. Then I just start the process over again. So what is my A here? 4. What's your B? And then what's your C? Negative 12. So remember, like if you mess up the order that you put it in and mess up your A, B, and C, the whole thing is going to be wrong. Now all you do is I look at it and I go one at a time. So I go, okay, I'm going to put all my A's as 4, so A should be right here, and A should be down here. I do all my B's as 3, so right there and right there. And then I do all my C's as negative 12. Make sure you do that negative or else you're going to get it incorrect. Then I'm going to simplify it. So you could, if you wanted to, you could type that right into your NZ calculator, but it actually takes more work because you have to sit there and type it again or highlight it and change that plus to a minus, and actually just takes more time. So it's easier just to simplify it. So what's the opposite of 3? It's already positive though, so what's the opposite? Good. So I get negative 3 plus or minus. What is 3 squared? 3 times 3? 9. And then what's 4 times 4 times negative 12? Or negative 4. So when I see 2 negatives, I automatically know that's going to turn to a plus sign. So what's 4 times 4 times 12? 4 times 4 times 12. Good. 192. And then what's 2 times 4? 8. So all you do is you keep reducing it. Then I go, okay, what is 9 plus 192? I need to simplify that. and I end up getting 201. I can see that's not a perfect square, so I'm going to go over here and type it right into my calculator. -3 plus 201 over 8. And then I'll also type in -3 minus radical 201 over 8. Because that radical is not a perfect square, I know I'm going to be getting a decimal. So type that into ND, and what do you get for the first one? I'll make sure you guys are writing these notes down and trying this out too. Because when I do small group in the hallway, I'm not going to be helping you unless like I could see you tried, you did your notes, and you just need that extra help. That time in the small group is not to catch you up because you decided not to listen when we went over notes. So what did you guys end up getting here? 1.4. 1.4. And what's the other one? So all you have to do is highlight it, click enter, and use the arrows to change that plus to a minus sign. Or you can just type it again. It might be a little easy. Yeah. And so that means that these two are my roots, my solutions, my x-intercepts. Make sure you understand that because some people just write it as a point, like 1.4 comma -2.1. But those two are my roots, my zeros, my x-intercepts. That's why it has x right here. It stands for your x-intercepts. Does that make sense? All right. I'm going to give you, so you're turning it over. I'm going to give you another one, and I'm going to lag behind. So I'm going to give you one more and lag behind me a little bit to see how you're doing. So this one's going to be x squared plus 32 equals 12x. So first is everything on one side of the equation. If it's not, move it. So I'll give you a few seconds.